listen, girl, if this is not the realest shot that you'll ever see, I don't know what is. I have the laundry to put away. I did not make my bed this morning. I have my child's spit up all over my shirt. It is currently 9:26 p.m. It's been a few days since the donut run, and I'm finally getting a chance to sit down and film the next part of this video. We left off talking about how my mental health is doing now that I'm postpartum, but now let's talk about my physical health now that I'm postpartum and basically done with the 4th trimester. I went back and forth for what felt like forever on birth control because I had been on the pill since I was, I think, 15 up until I think it was a year after I got off of birth control is when I got pregnant with Jude. If you guys remember, I did do a video 1 year postpartum from Jude where I talked about also getting off the birth control pill again because of just my mental health and the state that my mental health was in at the time, which also meant being careful about what could alter my mental state or my hormones. So the first thing that came to mind was my birth control, and I switched from the birth control pill to the natural cycles method where you take your temperature and you plug it into the app, and then it'll tell you like when you're allowed to have sex and when you're not allowed to have sex based off of your period and when you're ovulating and all of that good stuff. In theory, it would work great. I basically would forget. You had to take your temperature at the beginning of every day at the same time, and with a baby that was really hard for me to do. So I was basically off of birth control and trusting this method for a while, and then I just stopped doing it. We moved, I lost my thermometer, and we were just back to the pull-out method and just trying to be cautious of when I was ovulating. Obviously that did not work because now I have 2 babies. So I was pretty adamant about this time once I was postpartum that I wanted Ricardo to get a vasectomy because I was too scared to do anything hormonal again. I did not want to get the IUD because I've heard horror stories about it. So I was just going back and forth for what felt like forever, but at the same time, because we do have a very active life, I wanted to make sure that I didn't get pregnant again.
After a lot of deliberation,
I decided that I do not want Ricardo to get a vasectomy
just yet.
Not because I'm thinking about having another child.
Why the you lying? Why you always lying?
This is going to sound crazy because as women, we're technically the ones that always take care of not getting pregnant. It's usually our responsibility, but I just felt bad forcing Ricardo to do something like that. And it wasn't really so much forcing. He was 100% up for it, but I could tell that he was hesitant.
This is the part that's gonna sound crazy.
But I just felt bad telling him to do that to his body.
I know. I just went through all of these years through hormonal birth control.
For the both of us, I had 2 babies. I got off of birth control, but I still felt really bad. So I did not make him go through with it, even though the whole pregnancy with Jonah, I was like,
you're gonna get a vasectomy as soon as you can.
We do not want to have another baby, at least not right now. And honestly, I think with 2, we are done. We're just done doing the newborn phase again. I decided to get back on the pill, so that is the birth control method that I have chosen. I think because I feel so much safer in my mental health this time around, I'm able to distinguish what is me, what is hormonal, things like that. And it sounds crazy to say that considering that the clips before this, I was talking about how I didn't know if my postpartum rage was due to external factors or if it was just my moods, but I think I felt that prior to getting on birth control, so those 2 things don't really correlate. Now I know, hey, my period is coming, these are PMS symptoms. I guess I just feel like I know myself, my body, and my emotions a lot more, to where I feel like more comfortable being on the birth control pill. I know that it does a lot of damage that I'm probably not aware of, but for me right now, it's something that I already know and I'm comfortable with. So that's what I decided was the best method for me and my family to prevent pregnancy. I basically was able to go back to the gym. I think I was about to be 5 weeks postpartum, and I did not mention this in my last video, and I should have because I feel like it was an important detail, but with Jonah's delivery I didn't tear, which is different than with Jude. With Jude I had 2 second-degree tears, so my recovery was way different than this time around. And I also stayed active throughout my pregnancy in the gym with Jonah longer than with Jude. I think with Jude I only made it to about month 4 in the gym. With Jonah I was almost 7 months, I think. I'm mentioning these things because I know that they played a big role in my recovery and my ability to go back into the gym a lot sooner than usual. I went back into the gym almost 5 weeks postpartum, and I went back under the bar, all barbell movements, squats, deadlifts, bench, all of that stuff at the beginning basically. And I also did that because I also felt stronger, and without the tearing I feel like I bled for a shorter amount of time. Like I stopped bleeding a lot sooner, and also just my core strength was a lot better. I will always talk about this moment because it is ingrained in my brain. The first week that I went back to the gym after I had Jude, I had dumbbell press programmed flat bench, right? And I remember I did my flat bench. I was going to get up from the bench and I couldn't because I didn't have any core strength. It was like I didn't remember how to use my core muscles to get myself back up. And I remember when that happened, I was like, I am never going to let this happen again, because it's weird. It's weird to just feel like so much loss of strength, and your body goes through so much through pregnancy that I was like, I'm gonna try to do everything that I can to try to preserve as much strength as possible this pregnancy. And I feel like I really did that, because I feel like, I don't know what it is, guys, but my strength in the gym has been progressing pretty quickly. When I had Jude, I did go see a pelvic floor physical therapist postpartum to be evaluated, to make sure my pelvic floor was okay, to make sure that my core was okay and I didn't have too much diastasis recti or ab separation. And when I went, she told me I didn't have any ab separation, which is interesting considering that I felt like I delivered my whole core muscles. I didn't have any ab separation. My pelvic floor did need some work, but we were able to work through that. This time around though, I don't have the funds at the moment to be going to pelvic floor physical therapy because it's really expensive. Like most insurances don't cover visits to pelvic floor physical therapists. So I didn't go to get evaluated prior to going back to the gym, but my doctor did give me the green light to go. I don't know how much you would take that seriously, considering that their evaluation postpartum is basically a joke. Like, they don't really even check you. I feel like I'm talking too much about this in particular because I feel like I'm trying to explain myself as to why I went back to the gym so soon, but I don't really have to explain myself to anyone because I really felt ready and I missed it so much, and I missed being in the gym, being able to lift without a baby in my belly. And yeah, I think because I missed it so much, that's also contributed to how strong I'm getting so quickly. I'm basically lifting numbers that I took a long time to get to prior to pregnancy, so we'll see. I'm aiming to get my 200-pound deadlift by the end of the year. Stay tuned for that. Oh, this was important. One thing I did want to note is that sometimes after certain gym sessions, I do feel kind of like a strain in my stomach, and it feels kind of like when your stomach is sore. It's not painful, but it also feels different than just your regular stomach soreness. So I'm gonna keep evaluating that, try to see if there's a pattern, if there's like certain movements that I do that day that cause the pain, if it's on the days that I have my heaviest lifts. I don't know, but for right now, I did want to notate that in case I have to bring it up later. With physical health comes sexual health, and again, I did not tear, so it was a lot easier for us to get back into our regular life sooner than with Jude, and with Jude it was actually pretty quick as well. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we're back to normal now, especially since Jonah's sleeping in his own room. I feel like we're back to a normal, healthy sex life, and I haven't had any issues reaching the big O. I didn't have that issue after I had Jude either, but I just wanted to notate that because I know some women do. I haven't noticed any pain during certain positions or anything like that, so I'm really grateful. I think my pelvic floor is in good shape until I remember this part specifically. So one thing I have noticed, and this happened with Jude too, when I reach the big O, the following day I do struggle a little bit with incontinence. I don't know why that is. I don't know if like my muscles tense so much during that moment that once like I release, like they almost forget how to keep that strength. I don't know if that makes sense. That's a theory that I have in my head. But like I said, that was something that I encountered after I had Jude. And after a few months, it kind of corrected itself. I think if I get to 6 months and on and I still see no improvement, or if it gets worse, then I'm probably gonna have to go see the pelvic floor specialist. One thing that I didn't talk about in the last video was whenever I was trying to leave the hospital after having Jonah, I had to stay an extra day because of my blood cell counts. I think that's what they were. I don't remember. They had checked me, and then I guess a couple of hours after they checked me again and they were lower, and they didn't understand why they were dropping so much, because from my understanding, those types of things are only supposed to happen when you have preeclampsia, which I did not have. And they checked me 4 times, and every time they were lower and lower. It could be really dangerous. I don't even remember what the dangers were of that, but basically my midwife did not feel comfortable sending me home until my counts regulated. So I had to stay an extra day, which was terrible. But I'm bringing this up because when I did my 6-week postpartum checkup, we did talk about how there might be a correlation between that, the postpartum hemorrhage, the velamentous cord, and then there was another thing. What was the other thing? I don't remember. There could be a correlation between all of those things. Basically, we are concerned that there's something wrong with my blood or something like that. I don't even know how to explain it to you guys, and I have to go get blood work,
but I haven't gotten it done yet.
I think I might be procrastinating because I'm scared to find out if there's anything wrong. All of the things that I mentioned to you and all of the things that I experienced through my pregnancies, they could lead to a dangerous diagnosis. I should probably take it a lot more serious than I am. And I mean, it would be a disservice for me not to, right? Because I have my kids now, and if I have something that could really cause me harm, then I need to address it. Maybe I will try to get that done soon. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about that I did notice is I've started to feel pain where they put the epidural. With Jude, I would feel it every once in a while, very rarely, and it's a very particular pain. So once I started to notice it more often after Jonah, I was like, oh, interesting, because in my family, they would always say how the cold would make you feel pain where you get the epidural, and I would feel it sometimes, but now it's not even with the cold. I don't know, just randomly it starts to hurt, and that sucks. I would probably take the epidural again, but I do wonder sometimes like what the long-term effects of that is. And then I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, because do I want to know?
Probably not.
Hopefully as time goes on, it gets better. So let's talk about the hot topic of every postpartum video, which is postpartum body. I did not keep track of my weight my entire pregnancy, again for mental health reasons, but I would always get comments on how,
oh, no tienes panza, like,
You don't even look pregnant.
granted, you guys know I wear hoodies and big t-shirts basically 24/7, but even I felt like I wasn't as big as I was with Jude. And whenever I had my 6 weeks postpartum visit, I happened to look at the weight trend that they keep for you, and I was shocked about how much weight I had gained with Jonah, because it was barely nothing. So I feel like I returned to my pre-baby weight a lot sooner because I didn't gain as much weight with Jonah. I've been going so hard in the gym that I've been seeing a lot of improvements, as you guys know. Guys, I have to show you something. Look at my arms. I'm starting to see some definition, not so much on the biceps, and I also have some loose skin down there from when I gained weight, but do you see that? Holy moly. Is that just lighting? Everywhere on my upper body, my glutes, my legs, but my stomach, I was telling Ricardo this the other day, like, I am starting to feel down on myself because I feel like there's just no improvement in my stomach, and yeah, it's a little discouraging. I definitely have an apron belly now, and I don't even know if I get into a smaller body if that's going to change. I just feel like it's going to be like loose skin, and now I understand tummy tucks, and I understand my mom, because she would always tell me, and my mom, that woman, she has the strongest core that I know. I remember when we first started working out together, she would do abs and I was just in awe of her and like how strong her stomach is, and still now her stomach is so strong, but she would always still tell me like that she was uncomfortable with her stomach, and now
I get it.
Because even on my best days when I feel good about myself, my stomach just like, I get really uncomfortable with it. And I know that this is a common insecurity amongst moms. Despite that huge insecurity, I think that I am at a place where I've really started to love my body regardless, and I'm just so grateful for what it's done for me, what it's continuing to do for me. I'm still in awe sometimes when I'm squatting or deadlifting in something and thinking, damn, like I just had a baby 4 months ago. That's insane for me to be doing what I'm doing right now. Yeah, and just like to be able to keep up with Jude. There's this thing that we do every time I drop her off at daycare. The things that mark the parking spaces, like the big brick thing, I don't know what they're called. She likes to step on top of that, and she has me step on top of it as well. And she loves for both of us to jump off of it. Being able to jump off of that, have strong knees, not hurt my back. And I know it's like a tiny little step, but I'm saying this story just to try to tell you how grateful I feel to be able to play with my child and to do that with her, because it's something that's special to her. And I just think like, I'm doing this for her as well. I'm doing this for my kids as well, because I want to be able to enjoy our life together for as long as possible. I did tell Ricardo when I was pregnant that I was gonna do a mommy makeover, because I've always been insecure about my boobs too. I've always wanted bigger boobs, and then I love my boobs when I'm pregnant, but obviously even though I did not breastfeed, they still sag. They don't look the same. They're not perky. And I was like, you know what, after this, I'm gonna get a mommy makeover. But I think that for now, I wanna see what I can do on my own without any cosmetic surgery or anything for a year, and then revisit again in a year, because I'm also hesitant to get surgery. And I feel like if I'm hesitant, if I even have 1% chance of fear or uncertainty, then I should not go get surgery, you know? So I think I'm gonna focus more so on seeing what I can do on my own, and then focusing on why I have insecurities around my insecurities, which is going to have to be worked out in therapy, obviously. But that's kind of where I'm at with my post-baby body.